After the age of 60, something surprising happens inside the human body. Even if you eat the same foods, lift the same weights, or walk the same number of steps, you can still lose muscle. This phenomenon is called anabolic resistance, a condition where your muscles become less responsive to the very signals that once triggered growth and repair. But here's the hopeful news. Certain fruits, yes, fruits, can help reverse this decline. This might sound counterintuitive. Most people think of fruits as sources of sugar, fiber, or vitamins, not as muscle-preserving powerhouses. But cutting-edge research from institutions like the University of Arkansas and the Journal of Gerontology is revealing something game-changing. Specific fruits contain bioactive compounds that fight inflammation, enhance mitochondrial function, and directly stimulate muscle protein synthesis, the biological process responsible for muscle repair and growth. And here's the psychological cost of not paying attention. Muscle isn't just about looking fit or being strong. Muscle is metabolically protective. It keeps your blood sugar stable. It protects against falls. It gives you the energy to engage fully in your life, whether that's playing with grandchildren or pursuing your purpose with vitality. Losing it isn't just physical. It's a slow erosion of agency and independence. That's why in this episode, we're going to flip the script on how we think about fruit. You'll learn the top 5 fruits that aren't just good for you, they're muscle-saving tools, especially if you're over 60. We'll explore the powerful plant compounds behind their effects, how they interact with your metabolism and nervous system, and when to eat them for maximum benefit. You'll also walk away with simple, science-backed protocols, from food timing to pairing strategies that support muscle repair, mitochondrial health, and long-term strength. Because the truth is, aging is inevitable. But muscle loss doesn't have to be. You just need the right inputs. And today, that starts with fruit. Around age 60, your body's internal response to food and movement begins to shift in subtle but important ways. You might notice that even with regular meals and moderate activity, you're not maintaining the same strength or muscle tone. That's not just aging. That's anabolic resistance, a biological phenomenon where your muscles become less sensitive to the anabolic signals triggered by protein intake and resistance training. In younger individuals, eating a high-protein meal sends a strong signal to the muscles to begin muscle protein synthesis, the process of building and repairing muscle fibers. But in older adults, that same meal produces a weaker response. It's as if the volume on that signal has been turned down. The reasons are multifactorial: reduced blood flow, chronic low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflaging, changes in hormone levels like testosterone and growth hormone, and impaired mitochondrial function. But here's what's empowering. Nutritional inputs, including specific fruits, can turn that volume back up. Here's what the research shows. Certain fruits contain polyphenols, anthocyanins, flavonoids, and micronutrients that directly target these mechanisms. For example, studies published in Frontiers in Nutrition and the Journals of Gerontology have shown that diets rich in polyphenols can decrease muscle breakdown by lowering oxidative stress, improve insulin sensitivity, allowing more nutrients to be delivered to muscles, enhance mitochondrial efficiency, restoring energy production within muscle cells. This isn't just theory, it's observable in lab results and even muscle biopsies. In one study from the University of Arkansas, older adults who consumed polyphenol-rich foods for 8 weeks showed improved mitochondrial function and markers of muscle regeneration, even without a change in their exercise habits. Think of it like this. Your muscle is a factory. When you're younger, that factory is operating at full power. The lights are on, the machines are responsive. But as you age, the power supply dims. Fruits rich in specific compounds act like restorative energy sources, flipping the breakers back on in that factory and allowing growth signals to be heard again. And here's where psychology comes in. Many people over 60 begin to accept weakness or muscle loss as inevitable. They reduce their activity. They stop pushing themselves. But what's really happening is a kind of biological learned helplessness. The internal system has slowed, so the external behavior follows. This is where food becomes empowerment. When you consume foods that restore your muscles' responsiveness, when you literally feed your strength, your body starts to respond differently to the same inputs. Suddenly, a 30-minute walk or a moderate resistance band session begins to yield visible and felt results again. That feedback loop can reignite motivation, self-belief, and energy. A simple tool to apply is this. Aim to include at least one muscle-supportive fruit daily, ideally timed with your most protein-rich meal. This helps optimize nutrient absorption and resensitizes your muscles to the anabolic signal. We'll get into specific fruit choices in the next sections, but start to think of fruit not as a garnish or snack, but as a targeted therapeutic intervention. A question for reflection. What would change in your daily habits if you believed your body was still capable of growth? Because biologically, it is. You just need to feed it like it is. Blueberries are often praised for their antioxidants, but their power goes much deeper, especially when it comes to aging muscles. These small fruits can do something remarkable. They help your cells build more mitochondria, the energy-producing engines inside your muscle fibers. And that matters because mitochondrial decline is one of the key reasons older adults experience fatigue, slower recovery, and progressive muscle loss. Here's what's happening in your body. As you age, the number and efficiency of mitochondria in your muscle cells decline. This means your muscles have less energy to repair themselves, to perform contractions, or to recover after activity. But researchers at Tufts University and the University of Georgia found that the anthocyanins in blueberries, particularly a compound called delphinidin, can stimulate a process called mitochondrial biogenesis. This means your body is encouraged to create more and better functioning mitochondria. In one study published in the Journal of Nutrition, older adults who consumed blueberry powder daily for 12 weeks showed improved mitochondrial markers and enhanced muscle performance on strength tests. The researchers concluded that blueberry direct polyphenols help restore the cellular machinery required for energy production, making muscles more resilient, more responsive to protein, and quicker to recover from stress. And it's not just about energy. Blueberries also help reduce chronic inflammation, which is one of the silent drivers of muscle degradation. By neutralizing free radicals and reducing the activity of inflammatory cytokines, they create a more anabolic environment in the body, one where your muscles can grow instead of break down. Here's a practical tool. Consume 1/2 to 1 cup of blueberries within 1-2 hours of exercise or your protein-rich meal. This timing aligns the fruit's antioxidant and mitochondrial benefits with the period when your body is repairing and rebuilding muscle tissue. And if you're not exercising intensely, don't worry. This still works. Even daily movement like walking, light resistance bands, or gardening will benefit from these effects. You can eat them fresh or frozen. Both forms retain most of the key compounds. What matters is consistency. You're not looking for a single superfood moment. You're trying to retrain your biology to become more metabolically efficient over time. Think of blueberries as a daily deposit into your cellular energy bank. Here's something empowering. Muscle loss is often treated like an unavoidable result of aging, but what it really is, in many cases, is the result of cellular fatigue. And when you restore energy at the cellular level, strength returns faster than most people expect. That's what makes blueberries such a deceptively powerful tool. Now, before we move on to the next fruit, if this insight is helping you rethink aging and nutrition, consider subscribing. This channel is dedicated to giving you grounded, science-based tools to build strength, energy, and clarity at any age. And if you know someone who's starting to feel weaker or more tired in their 60S or 70S, send this to them. These small changes can add up to life-changing momentum. Let's keep going, because the next fruit on our list is especially powerful for improving blood flow and muscle oxygenation, and that fruit is pomegranate. Muscle isn't built in isolation. It's built through a complex network of oxygen delivery, nutrient transport, and cellular communication. And one of the most overlooked variables in that system is blood flow. If your circulation is compromised, your muscles are essentially starved of the very ingredients they need to grow. This is where pomegranate enters the picture, not just as a fruit, but as a physiological amplifier. Pomegranate is rich in allagitannins, polyphenols that the gut microbiome converts into a powerful compound called urolithin A. What's fascinating is that urolithin A has been shown to improve mitochondrial function by promoting a process called mitophagy, the selective removal of damaged mitochondria. Think of it like clearing out broken machinery in a factory so the remaining equipment runs smoother and more efficiently. In a 2019 randomized controlled trial published in Nature Metabolism, older adults who supplemented with urolithin A, derived from pomegranate, for 4 months experienced significant improvements in mitochondrial health and walking endurance without any changes in their exercise routines. This suggests that pomegranate is doing something powerful at the cellular level, creating a more efficient metabolic environment where muscle can be rebuilt and sustained. But the benefits don't stop there. Pomegranate juice has also been shown to increase nitric oxide levels in the body, which dilates blood vessels and improves oxygen and nutrient delivery to muscles. This is critical not only during physical activity, but also during rest and sleep, when the body undergoes the bulk of its repair and regeneration. One double-blind study in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that participants who consumed pomegranate extract before exercise experienced reduced muscle soreness, improved blood flow, and enhanced exercise performance. For individuals over 60, these effects can be the difference between a body that stays active and one that starts to slow down. Here's a simple protocol. Drink 4-6 ounces of 100% pomegranate juice, or eat 1/2 cup of fresh pomegranate arils in the evening with or after dinner. This timing supports overnight muscle repair, improves vascular function during sleep, and synergizes with the body's natural growth hormone pulses that occur at night. If you're watching your sugar intake, consider a high-quality pomegranate extract. Many provide the same polyphenols without the added carbohydrates. UST. Make sure it's standardized for allagitannins or urolithin A content. Psychologically, this fruit offers something even deeper, a feeling of reconnection, because when you improve circulation, not just in your muscles, but also to your brain, you start to feel more awake, more capable, and more alive. It's not just about muscles, it's about your internal state shifting back into momentum. This is a key insight for anyone who feels like they're slowing down. Sometimes it's not your motivation that's fading, it's your blood flow. Improve that, and drive often returns on its own. One more note, if you're taking medications for blood pressure or are on anticoagulants, check with your physician before adding pomegranate daily. It's generally safe, but it's always wise to personalize any intervention. In the next section, we'll explore a fruit that's almost medicinal in its ability to reduce muscle inflammation and soreness, even in people who aren't training hard. That fruit is tart cherry, and its effects on recovery and muscle preservation are nothing short of remarkable. If you've ever felt unusually sore after what used to be a light workout, or if your recovery time seems to stretch longer with age, you're not imagining it. Muscle inflammation increases as we get older, even with modest activity. But there's one fruit that's been studied extensively for its ability to reduce muscle damage, speed up recovery, and preserve strength, tart cherries. Unlike sweet cherries, tart cherries, specifically the Montmorency variety, contain high levels of anthocyanins and flavonols, natural compounds that have potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. These compounds reduce levels of interleukin-6 and C-reactive protein, two key markers of inflammation that are elevated in both post-exercise soreness and chronic age muscle loss. In a study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, researchers gave tart cherry juice to participants for several days before and after exercise. The group consuming tart cherry juice experienced significantly less muscle soreness and strength loss compared to the placebo group. What's more surprising is that this effect wasn't limited to athletes. Older adults showed similar benefits in other studies, even after simple resistance or walking routines. Another study from the University of Vermont found that tart cherry juice reduced muscle pain by up to 24% in the days following physical activity. These effects are believed to stem from the fruit's ability to blunt oxidative damage and accelerate muscle fiber repair. So what's the practical protocol? Here's a simple and effective one. Drink 8-10 ounces of tart cherry juice in the evening, ideally 1-2 hours before bed. This not only supports muscle recovery, but can also improve sleep quality thanks to the natural melatonin content found in tart cherries. Quality sleep is where much of your muscle repair actually happens. So this is a win-win. Alternatively, if you're watching sugar intake, tart cherry extract capsules, typically 500 and then 0 influence, are also effective and have been used in many of the clinical studies. Look for extracts standardized for anthocyanin content. You might be wondering, do I need to be exercising hard for this to matter? The answer is no. Even light activity like gardening, yoga, or walking creates micro tissues in muscle tissue that your body needs to repair. Tart cherry compounds accelerate that repair and reduce the prolonged inflammation that otherwise leads to weakness and longer recovery times. More importantly, from a motivational standpoint, when your body recovers faster, you're more likely to stay consistent. Pain and delayed soreness are two of the most common reasons older adults stop exercising. If you can reduce that feedback, even slightly, your chances of staying active long-term increase dramatically. And this brings us to a larger point. Your recovery rate influences your identity. When you feel like your body bounces back quickly, you think of yourself as strong and capable. But when recovery lags, it feeds the false narrative that you're too old or too far gone to get fit again. Tart cherries help disrupt that narrative, biologically and psychologically. If this insight has been valuable to you so far, consider subscribing. We dive deep into science-based tools that help you reclaim energy, strength, and clarity at any stage of life. And your support helps us keep sharing these protocols with the people who need them most. Now, in the next section, we're shifting gears toward a fruit that doesn't just support blood flow, but also boosts growth hormone and nitric oxide, making it a surprising ally for overnight muscle repair. That fruit is watermelon, and it might be one of the most underrated performance foods for people over 60. Most people think of watermelon as just a refreshing summer snack, but what's inside this fruit, especially the white rind near the skin, is far more powerful than it appears. Watermelon contains a unique amino acid called L-citrulline, which has been shown to boost nitric oxide production, enhance blood flow, and even stimulate growth hormone, all critical elements for rebuilding muscle after the age of 60. Let's start with nitric oxide. Citrulline is converted in the kidneys into L-arginine, which in turn helps produce nitric oxide, a gas that causes your blood vessels to widen. This improved vasodilation means better oxygen and nutrient delivery to muscles, especially during and after physical activity. In older adults, this can counteract the natural decline in circulation and support faster muscle recovery and protein absorption. In a 2017 study published in Neuroscience, researchers found that older men who took citrulline supplements experienced increased leg blood flow and improved muscle oxygenation during walking, This isn't just about performance. It's about making sure your body can use the nutrients you're giving it. Without circulation, even the best diet won't reach your muscle fibers where it counts. But here's the truly fascinating part. L-citrulline also appears to stimulate growth hormone release, especially when consumed in the evening. Growth hormone is critical for muscle protein synthesis, fat metabolism, and cellular repair, but levels naturally decline with age. However, a study in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism showed that elevated nitric oxide levels from citrulline or arginine could stimulate a nighttime pulse of growth hormone, particularly when paired with sleep and protein intake. So here's a science-backed protocol. Consume 1-2 cups of watermelon, including some of the white rind, about 1-2 hours before bed. This may support both nitric oxide production and the nighttime release of growth hormone, optimizing your body's repair cycle. If eating a large portion of fruit doesn't fit your dietary goals, a citrulline malate supplement, typically 6-8 grams, is another effective option, and it's the form used in many athletic performance studies. It's also worth noting that improved nitric oxide isn't just about muscle, and it benefits brain function, heart health, and even sexual vitality, all of which contribute to overall energy and a deeper sense of well-being. Muscle doesn't live in a vacuum. It's part of an integrated system, and watermelon, through its impact on blood flow and hormone signaling, helps nourish that entire system. Have you ever noticed that you feel more energized and less stiff after a good night's sleep? That's not just rest, it's recovery. And it's largely driven by the hormonal and circulatory conditions that exist while you sleep. Watermelon, or citrulline more broadly, is one of the rare tools that can enhance those conditions naturally. There's something deeply empowering in knowing that a simple food can influence such complex systems. You're not at the mercy of age. You're working with your biology intelligently, strategic. As we've seen throughout this series, building strength after 60 isn't about getting lucky with genetics. It's about providing your body with the right signals, nutrients, movement, sleep, and recovery, all working in concert. And fruits like watermelon deliver those signals in surprisingly potent ways. In the next section, we'll bring it all together with a fruit that most people overlook entirely, but that has some of the most powerful effects on insulin sensitivity, protein absorption, and lean muscle preservation. That fruit is kiwi, and it might be the final missing piece of your evening muscle optimization ritual. When we talk about building or preserving muscle, protein usually gets all the attention. And yes, getting enough high-quality protein is essential. But here's something most people don't realize. Your body's ability to use that protein to shuttle amino acids into muscle cells depends heavily on insulin sensitivity. And as we age, insulin resistance becomes more common, silently sabotaging our efforts to stay strong. This is where kiwi becomes an unlikely but powerful ally. Specifically, green and golden kiwis are rich in actinidin, vitamin C, and fiber, all of which have been shown to improve glucose metabolism, reduce oxidative stress, and enhance protein digestion. Let's start with insulin sensitivity. In a 2013 study published in Asia Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition, researchers found that eating 2 kiwis daily for 12 weeks significantly improved insulin sensitivity and lipid profiles in older adults. Participants didn't change their diet or activity, just added kiwi. Why? Kiwis contain both soluble and insoluble fiber, which slows the absorption of glucose, prevents insulin spikes, and supports a steady release of energy, all of which enhance your body's anabolic response to food. There's also evidence that kiwi helps increase plasma levels of essential amino acids, especially when consumed with protein. This is thanks in part to actinidin, a natural enzyme found in green kiwi that helps break down protein in the stomach, making it more bioavailable. In fact, some studies suggest kiwi may be particularly helpful for older adults who experience reduced stomach acid, which can hinder protein digestion and muscle maintenance. So here's a simple science-backed evening protocol. Have 1-2 ripe kiwi fruits, green or gold, 30 minutes after dinner, ideally alongside or following a protein-rich meal. This combination improves protein digestion, helps regulate blood sugar, and enhances amino acid absorption, all critical for overnight muscle repair. You can also include kiwi as part of a larger muscle-supporting fruit stack, pairing it with tart cherry juice or watermelon for added synergy. Each fruit contributes to a different part of the muscle-building equation: inflammation control, blood flow, hormone support, and nutrient delivery. Another benefit of kiwi worth noting: sleep enhancement. In a study published in Asia Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition, participants who ate 2 kiwis before bed fell asleep faster, stayed asleep longer, and had improved sleep quality after just 4 weeks. Researchers believe this is due to the antioxidants, serotonin precursors, and folate found in kiwi, all of which support the body's natural circadian rhythms and recovery processes. Let's zoom out for a second. When you improve insulin sensitivity, enhance amino acid absorption, and reduce nighttime inflammation, you don't just build muscle, you restore confidence. You signal to your body that it's safe to grow, to repair, to move forward instead of decay. This is what food can do when it's used as a targeted strategic tool, not just a source of calories. And for people over 60, this matters more than ever. Because when you see and feel your body respond to these small changes, you're no longer fighting biology, you're working with it. You're reclaiming momentum. In the final section, we'll recap the 5 fruits we've covered: banana, pomegranate, tart cherry, watermelon, and kiwi, and outline how to combine them into a simple weekly protocol that supports strength, recovery, and vitality as you age. We'll also explore the deeper reason these tools matter, because strength isn't just about muscle. It's about agency, the feeling that your body still responds when you invest in it. Let's bring it all together. You've now learned that 5 specific fruits, banana, pomegranate, tart cherry, watermelon, and kiwi, aren't just healthy snacks. They're strategic tools backed by science that can slow muscle loss, accelerate repair, and restore vitality after 60. Each one targets a different biological system essential for maintaining and rebuilding muscle. Bananas fuel your muscles and nervous system with potassium and magnesium, supporting strength and recovery, especially before bed. Pomegranates improve blood flow and mitochondrial health, increasing energy and protein uptake during exercise and sleep. Tart cherries lower inflammation and muscle soreness, accelerating recovery and improving sleep quality. Watermelon, rich in citrulline, boosts nitric oxide and growth hormone, aiding overnight repair and blood circulation. Kiwi enhances insulin sensitivity and protein absorption while also supporting digestion and sleep. Here's what the research shows. When you address these systems together, hormonal signaling, blood flow, inflammation, nutrient delivery, and sleep architecture, you create the ideal internal environment for muscle growth, even in your 60S, 70S, and beyond. So how do you put this into practice? Here's a simple weekly protocol you can start using right away. Nightly muscle repair protocol. Night 1, banana plus kiwi. Night 2, tart cherry juice plus watermelon. Night 3, pomegranate plus kiwi. Night 4, banana plus tart cherry. Night 5, watermelon plus protein shake. Night 6, kiwi plus tart cherry. Night 7, pomegranate plus banana. Each pairing supports a different part of the muscle recovery process. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. And the best part? These changes don't require a gym membership or a supplement cabinet. Just a trip to your local grocery store, a little planning, and a commitment to fueling your biology with intelligence and intention. Now let's zoom out beyond the protocol. This is about more than fruits. It's about reclaiming the belief that your body is still responsive, still trainable, still capable of growth. Because that belief, grounded in science, is what keeps people moving, engaging, and fully alive. The decline we often associate with aging isn't inevitable. Much of it is disuse, not disease. The body follows the signals you give it. And food, when used wisely, is one of the most powerful signaling tools you have. So here's a final challenge. Tonight, choose one of these fruits. Pair it with a small dose of protein. Eat it mindfully, knowing what it's doing inside you and how it's supporting your strength, your recovery, and your future self. Because small, consistent choices, especially at night, shape who you wake up as tomorrow. If this series has helped you reconnect with your body or see food in a new light, consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with someone you care about, someone who wants to feel strong again or stay strong longer. This community is built on science, insight, and action, and your presence here helps it grow. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and remember, your biology is always listening.